am sure as gamers we all have games we've always been curious about for years. You see them on the shelves, but you just never quite get yourself to pick them up. One of the things I want to do for this channel is play those games for me. I figured after so many years of the games giving me the puppy eyes, I should give them a shot. The game with the puppy eyes today is none other than Afro Samurai. A game with super cool art style and the premise of being a samurai and whooping cel shaded ass to hip hop beats. What else do you want? So let's take a look at Afro Samurai. Afro Samurai was released in 2009 by Namco Bandai Games, and it's a 3D action hack and slash game with attempts at platforming elements, but we'll get into that later. It's loosely based on the manga and anime series of the same name by Takashi Okazaki. Now, I kinda remember hearing something like that before I started playing the game, but I just went straight in. And I'm gonna say, that was honestly a mistake. Story-wise, in the game, I just felt a bit lost. There were a lot of bits and pieces missing. You're kind of thrusted into the game, and it's very vague in its narrative, character motivation, and even in gameplay sometimes. But it just feels like there's details to the story missing, backstory to characters, and things would just show up in the game which had much more insight to them. There's even fourth wall breaking and mentionings of the show. It just felt like I've missed a few days at school and the game is a test. It's not an incoherent story by any means. I got the gist of it, but watching the series would have definitely helped going in. And the series is super easy to recommend. It's only 5 episodes. There's also a movie, but those events occur after the series and not touched upon in the game. I watched both of these after finishing the game, so I did it backwards. And they are both fantastic and made me retroactively like the game a bit more. The cast of the series is amazing. Sam Jackson reminded me he's been a legend for a long time, and Ron Perlman as Justice was just brilliant as well.
Hey, Afro! Yo, Fro boy! You sure this the right way to go?
I will rule this world as God himself.
Back to the game. Like I said, it's loosely based on the original story. They changed stuff around, but not really for the better in my opinion. But the main story beats eventually hit. The way we get there is just different. The story is that there are these 2 headbands. The person that holds the first headband will have the ability to become a god and rule the world. The owner of the second headband is the only one in the world that's able to challenge for the first one, but anyone can challenge for number 2. That's why it's constantly changing owners. So, Afro's daddy was once number 1, until he was brutally decapitated in front of baby Afro by Justice. Now, as an adult, Afro is number 2, and fueled with hate in his heart to seek out justice for revenge. Meanwhile, the Empty 7 clan are chasing after Afro for the number 2 headband. Both Sam Jackson and Ron Perlman reprise their roles, and Sam just shines as Ninja once again. Giving his best video game performance as he was yelling at us as Officer Frank Tenpenny.
This is drug money.
And he was yelling at us as Frozen in the Incredibles games menu.
Now don't go messing with all those sets.
He's there the whole way with you, offering you your tips and giving you comedy throughout the game, and even teleports with a cloud of smoke telling you exactly where to go. And yes, he's exactly what you think and want Sam Jackson to be.
I'm just saying, you know, if every woman I stuck my dick into died a few hours later, man, I put that shit on my resume.
What really brought me in was the cel-shaded visuals. It still works all these years later, and some of the main areas were recreated from the show. The game's direction is really good, offering fun and different looking shots, going to black and white when you go into focus, but also there's a lot of split screen stuff done very nicely that gives the game this comic book feel. And because it's based in an already rich world, the setting is an interesting one, and it simply just makes it feel legit. The music is probably the MVP. I mean, it's amazing. I expect nothing less from RZA. The essence of Afro Samurai is just floating through the music. You would think music with lyrics while you're fighting can be a bit cheesy or corny, but it's just so good that it works. I found myself head bobbing throughout my whole 5-hour playthrough. So you have an awesome visuals, a crazy fun setting, and you pair this with RZA produced music. This game should be amazing, right? Well, unfortunately, they kind of missed on some of the gameplay. Not all, they certainly did some stuff I liked. I just felt that they should have leaned in more on the things that worked, or used that to grow in a direction, but the game honestly just needed some more time to be fleshed out properly. You attack with light and heavy attacks and kicks. It's pretty standard. and you have a moderate combo list that you can add on as you level up. The better the combo, the more blood splatters on the screen. I kind of like that. I also like the lack of any UI on the screen, keeping the screen extra clean for more space for blood. You will hear Afro's heartbeat when he's a blow away from dying, and there's an accessory at the end of his sword that will flash and glow when focus attack is full. You gain focus by chopping dudes down, and there are 2 attacks to be done with the focus by using the triggers. One uses all the focus and slows down time and delivers a 1/kill to as many enemies as you can within the time limit. This one works great in a big crowd because you just slice through them like butter. The other focus attack also slows down time, and by charging either the heavy or light button, the sword will shine. You let go of the button and you will slice fools up. You can attack horizontally and vertically. It took me a minute to fully grasp these focus attacks, but once you did, you just start setting things up. You throw in a sweep to get them in the air, and then slice them down vertically, or hit them and get them off balance and you tack them the other way. And it can be fun when there's less enemies to get in the way for your slicing. This is the one thing that really worked for me in the game, and it was really fun, and I couldn't wait to fill up my focus meter to do it again. You can also slight bullets shot at you in focus, and another attack sends it back right at the shooter. The slicing one is done in the show, so I came to appreciate that one looking back. Ninja will pop up and offer body part poker, where he wants you to slice off certain body parts, and if you do, you get leveled up quicker. The game can be vague in areas like when it came to leveling up. I wasn't sure what was determining my leveling up. There's no visual XP earned, and when you level up in the beginning, you just kind of start to unlock combos. So it just felt more like I was just getting things as the game progressed rather than me actually earning them with my level. I will say, once you get the hang of the slow-mo slicing, the game becomes much more fun. The other regular combos and attacks do stall out pretty quickly, even if you do have combo names like Bitch Slap. You can name all the combos the funniest names you can think of, but if it's ultimately not that satisfying to do so, it doesn't really matter. So the combat is not quite there. The feedback is not great. Yeah, blood spatters, but it doesn't feel like you're doing any damage. I want to feel like I'm causing them pain. This is even worse with the bigger and better boss battles. Sometimes there's things I had no idea how to attack or what to do, because the only thing you can do is run around and find an opening and attack. But it just didn't feel right to do so. It felt like more was missing, like a perfect parry to do to open them up for their slicing. A slow-mo timely dodge to carve up their backs, but no, it's really just run around, then you hit them, or you block and then it's your turn. It's just really not that interactive. I don't say this often, but I would have even taken some quick time events just to spice things up a bit. The game actually needed like a Devil May Cry Bayonetta combat type system, with some sort of currency in the shop where you can buy more swords that have effects to it, or maybe at least where you can buy cool new combos. I would still want to keep the focus mechanics, because when done correctly, that's the only attack with proper feedback, and the only thing that actually makes me feel like a dope-ass samurai. I did enjoy the aftermath of the fights. Chunks of bodies and gallons of blood just lie in your wake. You can see the carnage you left behind, even for only a bit before they disappears. Some enemies are from the series, and there's an okay variety to them, from big old dudes with baskets on their heads, to big buff dudes, to sneaky guys, to big-titted ninja ladies.
Those ain't kisses they blowing.
And they're pretty long fight battle sequences. It's just one fight after another, and the pace can be brutal with no breaks in the combat, because you're essentially just button mashing for a very long time. This is usually where you sprinkle in some exploration that provides breaks in the gameplay, followed by some more storytelling, but the way the story is told, there's just definitely a lot of gaps there. The game is very linear, so there's not a whole lot to explore, with only a handful of extra corners to hide the crow collectibles around. Now, for me, the part I liked the least was the attempt to the platforming. Everything about it felt very rough. There's wall running and jumping. I honestly think that's all you do. You don't really swing. You just kind of jump onto things. And it just feels stiff and clunky. Even the jumping was unresponsive at times. If you either press it too early or late, it won't respond properly and you die. It just needed way more cooking. There was also this weird thing of sometimes having an invisible wall during fights and some other times not having it. So in this level specifically, I got thrown off the bridge unfairly a bunch of times, which pissed me off. The platforming along with the combat just needed way more work. It feels kind of half cooked. Good ideas, just not really done to its full potential, which kind of sucks because there's so much potential there. The IP brings a lot to the table already, things that others don't, and it sucks that it feels like it's all been wasted. And this feeling grew even stronger for me when I found out that Volume 1 of an episodic sequel was released back in 2015 called Afro Samurai 2 Revenge of Kuma. It got removed from the PlayStation Store and Steam 2 months later due to negative reception, leading to Volume 2 and 3 being cancelled. Now, it's not the worst game I've ever played, but no game wants to be described like that. I guess it's a type of game that can hit the spot if you are in a certain mood for this type of game, and I'm gonna say I was. I just wished it offered more in the gameplay side. If it had a tighter combat, along with their cool mechanics like the focus attacks plus some creative puzzles, or more satisfying platforming, this actually could have been a success. But it wasn't all for naught. The game eventually did lead me to the series that you should definitely check out. But let me know down in the comments, do you remember playing it back then? Have you been a fan of the show? Let me know any and all Afro Samurai thoughts down below. If you made it this far, it means you liked the video, so please drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to always and forever, you do you.